something that I had last week that I forgot to bring up, and it's kind of appropriate because it's like right around the 1 year anniversary. We've been talking about. I know we recorded Cats like earlier, but James Corden is leaving the whatever late show or something.
I heard that. Yeah.
So I think it's probably because of us. Like it just took a year, kind of like Ellen. She had all that backlash last year, and she still gets her like going away tour.
Well, yeah, I mean, because like it's not like we dropped the episode and James Corden saw it. It took a while. Like we didn't.
It's
blow
the little
up
domino to the big domino.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't blow up until like last week when we got 1,500 views on our TikTok.
Yeah. And our newest one's about a little over 1,000 now. So hey.
Nice.
Yeah. So everybody's just going back and they're going, oh man, I'll start at episode 1, and then that's where the backlash began except we haven't released that episode.
That's true. We haven't even released that one.
My computer has been host to many hacks and strikes to find the file of Cats that I still have on there.
We've referenced it enough that like that people have they've gone through like the internet cache and like just
I bet there's a big old server at Twitch that still has all this shit on there that we could get.
Probably.
They
probably have a server labeled like James Corden.
Evidence.zip.
Yeah.
I tried using the Wayback Machine, and I could I could get to it, and it showed like timestamps of like saved pages or whatever. But then and there was one as far back as like July or June of 2021. Jesus, we were just talking about like it's been a year, and I was like, when did we start this?
Yeah.
And I think that would have those if I can get to it, but I click on it and it's just like it's stuck in like a loading screen for like I was on it for like 15 minutes. So I don't know. I don't know if that's normal.
I tried to do that with MySpace videos. I tried to go to the Grandpa Crane MySpace to see if I could get. It wasn't. So it's called the Chronicles of Alan Allensdale, but I forgot that episode 1 was called the Balla shirt.
Yeah.
Because it's like the Hawaiian shirt. I could get all the way up to it, and I could hit play, and I think it must be some sort of like out of date codec or something. But like I think when MySpace like transferred over, you just can't get to it. Because I forgot we did like an Easter special as well.
Yeah. I was going to say the Abolisher episode 1 of 1 plus 1 special. That's what like the Wikipedia pages read. 1 episode plus 1 special.
I'm pretty sure I still have the special someplace.
Yeah.
But not the OG.
Damn.
Why did we not
really
save
remember
that stuff? I mean, we probably did. It's just been
forever,
like,
man.
Yeah, right. That probably was the thinking.
Nothing on the internet ever dies.
Yeah, it's probably on one of our family computers that Mom just like threw in the trash one day because she was like anxious or something.
That's probably the case. It's just because we don't realize how long it's been since then. We've had like 5 computers since then.
Yeah.
So why is James Corden quitting, or did he get fired? Is there any? I know the general consensus online is that he's very annoying, but like, is it one of those toxic workplace situations like with Ellen?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. He just said he's leaving.
I mean, there's been like reports or whatever, or, like word of mouth.
He's a shithead.
He's apparently just like a terrible, like he's like a major kiss ass to other celebrities, but to anybody who's not, he just like is a fucking dickhead, is what I heard.
Okay, because I was gonna say it'd be kind of funny if like he wasn't like that at all, and the internet just found him annoying, but he still gets lumped in with Ellen, and he's like, guys,
just because he was in Cats, that was the turning point.
I was in Cats. He's like, I don't have the same toxic work environment that Ellen does. Why do I get lumped in with her? It's not fair.
It's just,
and we're just
one
like,
dude. It's like one page who is like, one time he like took the last tea bag and like I didn't get to have tea that morning, so he's just like,
it would be something very British like that.
Yeah, running a smear campaign.
He took the last crumpet from craft services. I can't work under these conditions.
It's definitely
he employs chimney sweeps.
It's definitely
Orphan.
a case of like I think people found him annoying before, and hearing those stories that he's an asshole is just like justification. And you're like,
That's
yes!
all. That's all it takes. It's like
Yes.
I knew
It's
it.
like-
I knew it.
Yeah, he's Jimmy Fallon, but he's British, so like people are like, people already
Well, I
don't
haven't
like
heard
Jimmy
anything-
Fallon because he's annoying.
Right.
But-
We just
No,
need
I'm
to find
saying he's
dirt
like
on
the
Jimmy
kiss-assy,
Fallon.
like
Oh,
yeah.
gotcha.
But
The only
since
thing
he's
about
British,
Jimmy
we
Fallon
just
is that
don't
he's
like him.
like apparently a hardcore alcoholic.
Is he really?
Yeah,
I've heard he's a
I think
partier. Yeah.
he's like
That's-
struggled.
Really surprising to me for some reason.
Well, there was in totally not funny and not cool news. I think Jimmy
Perfect.
Fallon was kind of under fire because him and like one of the SNL guys were like hanging out. I don't know if it was like trying to pick up underage girls at SNL parties. It's Horatio Sands, I think it was,
Aw.
allegedly.
Damn.
But it was like
Dang,
there's
I
like
Horatio Sands.
it was like Jimmy Fallon
too.
and Horatio were like chilling at SNL shit, and Horatio was like, they're like letting 17-year-olds drink at the SNL. I mean, really, Horatio's the fall guy for all of them.
Well,
Because
yeah.
I'm sure everyone there is just depraved and awful.
Right. Yeah, Horatio's probably just like he's the James Corden of SNL. He's just sitting in the corner like on his phone, and they're like, "It was Horatio who did," and he's like, "Huh? What? What happened?"
Maybe I've just been watching too much Succession, but Lauren Michaels
Yeah.
was like, "I think it's time for a blood sacrifice." Like,
I gotta
Horatio's
keep
like,
the
"Huh?
heat off."
Yeah.
Damn.
Damn.
There's a segue. I have more James Corden. I
Oh,
spent
I
like
didn't
an
even catch
hour.
it.
Yeah. I spent like an hour on like Twitter just scrolling all the James Corden like tags.
Dunks.
There's
And
some,
nothing's-
there's some heaters.
Nothing saying like why, just
No, it
Huh.
just says he's leaving.
maybe he just decided to retire. I don't know, or like retire from that. I don't know.
There's an
There's-
unaired episode of that at whatever show he does in his car where he ran over people. It was like
Oh yeah.
it's like vehicular manslaughter.
Yeah.
And trying to cover it up.
There's the range of like people that the reactions are, it's pretty funny. Some people are just like straight up. They put like nature's healing is a comment.
Yeah.
Some of them are. Another one is no combination of words in the English language is more beautiful than James Corden will leave. Which is pretty good. And then probably a contrarian. I don't know why I said it contrarian, but a contrarian said, "This is not good news. Think about how many bad movies James Corden made while he had a full-time job. The Pandora's box
No.
has been unleashing. He'll be Spider-Man before the decade's out."
Well, that was my thinking. Is he doing like I need to stop doing this show so I can further my acting career? That was kind of my first thought.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah. He's got to
this-
keep the heat off.
Jimmy Fallon's the American.
Trying it again.
Him. I was gonna say like, well, she's also American, but Amy Schumer is the like female James Corden,
Yeah.
or
It's like-
or
and-
Rebel
and-
Wilson. I don't know. one
And I
of
feel
them.
like the only type of people that are going to be upset about any of these celebrities like not having jobs or not having late shows, it's all the same demographic, and it's just like Minion Mom memes on Facebook, like, or like
Like older people. Yeah.
or like
for
the
sure.
like the,
Or do you
the
mean-
blue
or do you mean
wave in their
mothers
bio Twitter
of
like
Minions?
libs.
Yeah. That's why Conan didn't have success, because he didn't appeal to like the olds really. They didn't get the like.
Yeah.
All the Gary Glitter
Abstract
fans,
humor.
or no, not Gary Glitter. Who's that guy? Who's the little the liberal song and
Triumphant.
dance guy?
Yeah, Randy Rainbows.
Randy Rainbow. It's like that's
Yeah.
the demographic. It's all the Randy Rainbow
Yeah.
fans love James Corden. And
Yeah. Oh
And,
man.
did I remind you of that Randy Rainbow exists? I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
This is a very troubling topic for me. This is a very triggering topic for me.
It's funny because one of the other tweets said like, "Oh, now James Corden will be able to focus more on stealing roles from actual gay men."
That's a good one.
So it kind of fits together with what.
Randy Rainbow and James Corden are like just like the worst Laurel and Hardy combo. Like
That's not bad.
Great.
I mean, it's terrible.
Another. Well, we checked the box of reason to be canceled for this episode, so maybe we should just go to the movie. Because everybody's gonna be mad that we're hating on Randy Rainbows.
we gotta get the heat off of us.
Yeah, we gotta get this heat off.
Well, as to our point, anybody who is a fan of Randy Rainbows is not. I mean, nobody is watching
This
our
is
show.
not a safe
But
space.
this
No,
is not
but
a
they're-
Randy Rainbows
Friendly podcast.
Yeah. I don't
Come on,
think we're
Randy
appealing-
Rainbows. We're inviting you on. We'll debate you. We'll debate you.
This is an open
anything
forum.
about-
I mean,
open forum.
I don't
debate
think
you in the
any
marketplace of ideas.
I don't think any mothers of minions are going to be watching our show.
No, but it's like I'm just saying because like 85% of Randy Rainbow's lovers, like that's like mainly Twitter people. That's like Twitter club.
I see where you're. Yeah.
And I think Twitter club kind of like is at the forefront of like who gets canceled and who doesn't.
Yeah.
So the kingmakers.
Yeah. So I mean, if you want to get the heat off, just don't stay away from Twitter.
I was literally like about to, not exactly that, but I was gonna work in that word, which is heat.
You've heard me and Nick say it like 8 times, right?
And speaking of
Taking the heat off. Because he literally,
And speaking of, now I'm trying to think of something else. Speaking of,
we already said it. Just go.
Being canceled. No, it doesn't work. Speaking of heat, welcome back to There Will Be Duds. This is episode 46, I think. I keep forgetting to do it again, like we said we would, but I think it's 46 now.
Yep.
And I am your co-host, TJ, aka J Spot Jack Cheese, and with me as always.
As always, I'm Nick, aka Dr. Funk on Twitch, and with me, as always,
As all weebs, I am Travis, aka the Super General, and that's it. Again, as always, I guess. Now at this point, we can say as always.
it is becoming more and more as always.
And as
As time goes
always, we watched a movie this week. That movie being Heat from 1995, directed by Michael Mann. It follows both a criminal group of thieves, robbers, and as well as the like police task force who are hunting them down. Primarily, Neil McCauley, played by Robert De Niro, and Vincent Hanna, played by Al Pacino. As it's kind of like a sort of classic cat and mouse game that also spends a lot of time kind of more with the personal ramifications of it. Like it's kind of, and I guess what I knew it as is like an action movie, but it's almost more of a drama with some action in it because it spends a lot more time kind of with the personal issues as opposed to like guns and violence, although there is a fair amount of that in it. And yeah, so who wants to go first?
Boo, boo, boo.
I noticed like halfway. I don't know. I don't know if it's halfway, but at some point I realized that I feel like there's a lot of inspiration drawn from this for The Departed. Like it's really Departed-y to me. Even like kind of the ending, like how the main bad guy kind of dies by being shot, and like even like the pose is very similar, I think. Sorry, I was just reading more James Corden notes. I guess I had. Yeah, I don't know. I'm maybe not the best one to start because I really don't know how to feel about this movie.
I don't really have a ton of notes for it.
I don't have a ton either.
Because I watched I think I watched the first 45 minutes, and watching it, I was like, okay, this is a movie from 1995, and I'm watching it, and I was like, this holds up really well. This looks pretty good. The acting is pretty good. I'm like, okay, this actually because sometimes you watch a movie from a certain time period and you're like, The only part that I was like, oh, okay, this is a movie from the 90s was when Robert De Niro was on the balcony talking to Edie.
And
And
Amy
first,
Brenneman from The Leftovers.
Okay.
Just want to say that was one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, this movie is stacked with.
It is, yeah, insane cast.
It's crazy. But my first thought was I thought the L.A. nightscape was green screened. I don't think it was.
No, it was. It
Was
had
it?
to have been. It looked like they went to Google and just searched night skyline and just downloaded the first 800 by 400 pixel one that they could, and then it stretched it. It looked so bad.
From what I read, it was shot on location the entire movie. I don't think they used a soundstage. From what I've read.
I mean, even the room was shot on location.
That's
on location on a soundstage.
yeah. But the other thing that kind of immediately got me out of it was the soundtrack. Every time there was a romance scene,
it
would be these really soft synths, and then it would be
There was
it was they were
okay.
That
it was the Walmart version of Lethal Weapon soundtrack, is what I thought.
I thought a Lethal Weapon too. That simultaneously, I was like, "Fuck yeah!" And also oh man, I can't take this seriously at all. So,
no, there was a couple of songs that were okay, but for the most part, I just it took me a while to pick up. I was like, oh, this is a serious movie. It's got a bunch of well-known great actors, and then I was like, this is probably a solid movie. And then as it was going on, I was like, it's kind of corny. There's some real corny shit in this. There's the part where dude's name is Wayne Grow. I mean, just right there. But when he's with I don't know if she was supposed to be a prostitute or something, but she was 16.
She was they make it. She was a child prostitute.
Okay.
She was 16 or 17.
That conversation was so stilted. I know it was kind of she was kind of pretending,
baby.
obviously.
I mean,
but
she was.
it just sounded so.
You're talking to the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
Now I got to get my ass street side, sugar.
You don't have a truth-telling style.
What are you talking about?
The Grim Reaper's visiting with you.
You don't know. You're talking to the Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper has visited you. And she's just like, oh, no. Yeah, it was just so bad. There were some moments that I really, really liked, but they almost exclusively involved Robert De Niro and Al Pacino.
Dude,
that was pretty much it.
I'm gonna echo exactly what both of you have been saying. I feel the same fucking way.
Yeah.
Frankly, I was disappointed. I thought I was gonna really like this movie. Just from the hype around it, and De Niro, Pacino before they got too old to be taken seriously, I guess.
Oh yeah.
And Michael Mann, good director. I like the other stuff I've seen of his. But yeah, it's and I've heard it's inspirational for movies to follow it. But to me, it feels too late to be inspirational. I feel there's already been movies before this, Lethal Weapon, which is not as serious, but I'm wondering what template did this set supposedly that people are saying that it's so inspirational for. I feel this should have been made 10 years prior, and then you could be it's inspirational to movies after. But I feel like there was movies like, you know, late 80s, early 90s that already kind of did this. Maybe not like to quite an epic scale, as epic of a scale as this one did. But I just kind of missed that, where that was. Like it's like technically it's a well-made movie. It's directed well. The action is decent. If not a little bit drawn out. Acting is good. It's a well-composed movie. But yeah, I think a big issue for me is I couldn't connect to any of the characters really. I think especially with like Robert De Niro, he's a good actor, but I just saw Robert De Niro the whole time and I couldn't really connect to him. The only one where like that kind of didn't happen as much was Val Kilmer. He was probably my favorite character in the whole movie.
No way.
No way.
Pacino. It's like peak Pacino.
Well, okay,
I wrote down
like,
so many lines of him.
No.
Great ass.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
It's funny.
I've
every
seen
time
that
you Google the
outside of this movie.
You Google the movie, like I Googled it to get the poster for this, and like the first thing you see is the poster, and like almost always the next image is his face when he's like, like doing that great ass.
Because she got a great ass. And you got your head all the way up it.
He had a few of those lines too.
No,
it was like,
he did. Just
peak Pacino.
He was the most entertaining. He was the most entertaining actor. He was the most entertaining character or like actor in the whole movie. But I think like if I'm trying to be like, you know, what character did I care about the most? It was Val Kilmer's character. But yeah, I wrote down that my favorite scene in the whole movie was when Al Pacino comes home and Ralph is sitting there, who his wife just slept with, and he's like, "Sit the fuck down, Ralph."
Oh yeah, I made Ralph fuck you because it makes me feel good.
Our situation is absurd.
Look, maybe I should... Shut up, Ralph! Sit down!
Yeah.
And he's like,
you don't get to watch my television set.
He's like, you can fuck my wife. You can sit on my couch, but you can't watch my fucking television. He starts like ripping it up.
He says television set. They say it multiple times. It's like, dude, this isn't
it's
1945.
Like,
They've
10-inch box TV with the VHS thing in it, like the height of luxury in '95.
Yeah, and then he kicks it out of the car later, and it looks like the room TV where it's like super light, but then it hits the ground and it just fucking explodes.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, I've dropped one of those TVs before. Those things are like sturdy. Those things will survive a nuclear blast. Those things are like bulletproof.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think the Val Kilmer storyline was at least like the most fleshed out, because between like, so that's like kind of the thing with the movie is like between all like the scenes of like the crimes and like the cat and mouse chase, there's also like these scenes of like each character kind of having their own romantic issues. Like Robert De Niro's character is like, well, I think that's where like the title of the movie comes from, is like he's talking about like, you know, you gotta be ready to leave in 30 seconds flat if the heat comes around the corner.
Yeah. They do say that a lot of characters do say the word heat a lot in this movie, and
right.
Like
but I think that was like, little anecdote like 4 times too. He tells that to everybody he sees. It's like, it's like, hey, what's your name? I'm Neil. You got to be ready to leave. Like that's his introduction.
Well, he's been workshopping it for years, and he's like, yeah, this is exactly how I'm gonna say it every time.
Here's my elevator pitch for Neil.
Yeah.
He always says that, like, somebody told me this, but he actually thought of it like 5 minutes before he told the first person.
He invented a guy.
Yeah.
But the whole movie's like dealing with like all of their like kind of romantic troubles, and like Robert De Niro's character is like, he's a loner dotty, a rebel, and he's never been romantically attached to anybody, and then I guess graphic design is his passion, because he meets a woman in a bar who it's just like such a weird job title for like a romantic interest to be like, I'm a graphic designer. Yeah, so he meets her in a bar, and he's initially like, you know too much about me. Shut up. Why do you care? Yeah. And then she's like, oh, okay. And then he's like, actually, you're kind of hot. And then that's what leads to like the balcony green screen pew, 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 pew
Makeout
scene.
That was my first note, was that the transition from the bar to the, and like my most specific note, I'll say most of mine were just kind of more broad, but the transition from the bar to the balcony was really smooth. I thought that was really cool. It's just like the way like the music merged with like her laughing, and I don't know, it was kind of cool.
Yeah. But yeah, and then Val Kilmer's character, Chris, and his wife, he's like a gambler. And so like they have all these big scores, and he's only got like $8,000 left. And by the end of the movie though, when his wife is like in the safe house, like she's trying to, you know, basically being like, all right, you know, for immunity, I'll bring him in. The whole time I was like, she looks like Eileen Wuornos.
Weird. I mean,
did you think that too?
Not Eileen Wuornos, but the first two scenes she was in, I was like, oh, it's Charlize Theron, and I was like, oh no, it's Ashley Judd. And then the next scene she was in, I was like, oh, it's Charlize Theron. I was like, oh no, wait, that's Ashley Judd again. And then I got the picture after that. But
wow,
she looked like she looked like a young Charlize Theron from that time. So
yeah, but at the end with like her blonde hair and her like pencil thin little eyebrows,
yeah,
I thought she looked like Charlize Theron playing Eileen Wuornos. So I was like, oh shit. Ugh.
Interesting. Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah, I think part of the reason that it's hard to connect, because I also had the same issue, trying to connect with a lot of the characters. I mean, really, even the leads, is because there's so many people in the movie. Like, they introduce like Natalie Portman like fairly early, and then you do not see her again, and then he finds her in the bathtub, and it's like, oh yeah, I forgot. I mean, I remember she was in the movie, but I didn't think. I thought that was it. I thought that's all she was gonna do. But they try to do like, Michael Penn. Right? Or Chris Penn. But no, what's
the
that
one
dude's
from
name?
Reservoir Dogs?
Is it? No.
The one from Reservoir Dogs is Chris Penn.
That is Chris Penn.
Are you talking about somebody who is in this movie, or are you just
in
thinking
this movie?
Oh
the
no,
other
he
guy
wasn't
in the gang. I'm trying to think of his name.
Anyways, Tom Sizemore.
Tom Sizemore, yes, yes, Tom Sizemore.
Yeah.
Him, they do like he's kind of got like a story thing, and that's how like Robert De Niro, like, you know, he's at dinner with Tom Sizemore's character and his family, and they're all like loving. He's like, oh man, I need to get laid. And then Val Kilmer's got his whole thing, and then Robert De Niro, then Al Pacino. It's just kind of like, there's just a little too much, when really the thing that like ties this whole movie together is Al Pacino and
100%.
Robert De Niro.
100%.
Oh yeah,
for sure. Like you could cut the other guy, like you could cut Chris's stuff. You could kind of show some of that. I think you need the Tom Sizemore stuff to kind of, because you do need Robert De Niro's love interest, because that is a pretty good scene too at the end where he has to like make the decision, like, do I bail? I
want to get back to like towards the ending, because I liked more of that there, but continue. But
yeah, I think maybe that's what they were trying to do with like the Chris thing, the Val Kilmer thing. Like, oh, he's got all these problems and they fight all the time, but I forget what he says, like the sun sets with her, or whatever.
Something like that.
He says something like that, and it's like, I think that's all supposed to feed into Robert De Niro being like, I need to get laid. But then this woman, like, I think it's intentional, but she gives off like super heavy narc vibes the whole time. I thought she was a narc. She like walks by him in the bookstore right before, and then he goes to the bar. Yeah, okay. Eating these nuts.
Damn it.
So yeah, like she like walks by him and she's like looking at him, and I'm like, oh, that's a narc. And then it cuts to the bar scene, and he's at the bar, and then, or no, she's at the bar, and he comes and sits down, and then she's like, hey, what are you reading? Oh, it's about metals. What do you do? And he's like, I sell metals. And it's like, shut the fuck up. You don't sell metals, you idiot. What kind of bullshit line is that? He comes up with this like huge, like kind of elaborate like break-in scene at the drop, like just off the top of his head, to break into the hotel to kill Wayne Grow. But like he can't come up with a better excuse than I sell metals.
It's like It's like scenes in movies or like cartoons where someone will try to be coming up with a fake alias. And like, my name's Bob. Dinner plate.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
He's like, I sell metal.
That's kind of close to Bob De Niro too. Bob Dinner Plate.
Shit. Add that one to the mythos of.
Hey, it's Bobby Dinner Plate. Hey.
We got Woodward and SpongeBob and
Bobby Dinner Plate.
Bobby Dinner Plate.
I'll say something to the fact of the Natalie Portman thing that I think the reason she's only in that opening scene and then or like her first scene and then like when she tries to kill herself is because she's not they use her attempted suicide not to like accent or highlight her and Al Pacino's relationship. It's more about his and his wife or ex-wife's relationship. So they kind of use her attempted suicide to like resolve the parents' relationship.
Yeah, they basically showing her at the beginning is like the Chekhov's gun. I think that's the right thing.
It is. Yeah.
And it's just so that they can show her at the end and then he's just like
That's But yeah, you could be right. That could be another issue. Is that it's too there's too much going on. I think because I did, like I said, if there was any that I was like the most attached to, it was the Val Kilmer storyline or relationship or whatever. So like I would say like, and I mean it's those three on the cover. So like sure, it's Robert De Niro versus Al Pacino with an assist by Val Kilmer. So like, you know, maybe just those three. Don't really have to go into much more than that with the other characters, I guess. But
I was sad when Ted Levine's character got
I kind of did. Yeah, I kind of was too. Yeah.
I just love that he can't. He's basically Stottlemyre from Monk.
Who's that?
Never
You
seen.
never
it.
watched Monk?
I never watched Monk. No.
Oh, he's like he's the police detective that has, because you know the premise of Monk, right?
I just know he's like a detective who's very like neurotic and OCD.
He's
and
like
he's an obsessive compulsive.
Yeah.
It's Tony Shalhoub.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Ted Levine is like the police chief who like,
oh, he's
Monk,
he's,
you gotta go.
Ted Levine is in that too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he plays the police chief Stottlemyre.
Okay.
But like in Heat, he has the exact same like mustache and like haircut and shave and everything, and even like kind of talks in that like Buffalo Bill. Was she a great big fat person?
Well, that's
like,
just
has
his
that
voice. It's a very strange voice.
With the same mannerisms and everything. So when he got shot in like the big shootout, I was like, oh man, I like Ted Levine.
Yeah, the acting in this like pretty jarring too, because he falls to the ground and his eyes are like bug-eyed.
Yeah.
And I thought like, oh, he's like just in shock and he's gonna die. He's gonna do the die. But then it cuts back and his eyes are still like that, and Pacino's like checking on him. He's like, he's just surprised.
It's funny too because it's only like a few years after Silence of the Lambs, and like the age difference with him looks so insane because he just has like
it's
a
the
mustache and
it's bushy
and the bald instead of like the long hair.
Yep.
He went full cop.
The shootout scene I thought was pretty good. The bank heist and the shootout and like
that's like the one that you see like the two scenes that like I knew of before watching this was the big shootout scene and then the coffee shop scene with Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. Mm-hmm. And those definitely were like one of like some highlights. Not necessarily my favorite scenes or like the biggest standouts, but those definitely were like highlights. I mean, yeah, that Ralph scene was maybe the most entertaining. But I also like I was really I don't know if I want to use the word affected because I just don't think the movie had kind of like earned that enough with me. But the like Danny Trejo's like death scene was like that was another standout. I don't know. I just thought like it was really well because one I thought he was fucking dead when and then Robert De Niro's like he's like tell me what you know, and then he starts talking. I was like, oh Jesus Christ. And just I don't know his really like soft delivery. I was like, oh, he's Danny Trejo's doing like a really good job playing the character of Trejo. By
That's
the way.
Right.
That was one of the Letterboxd reviews of this. Is just like Danny Trejo is in this movie for like an hour and a half, and then no one addresses him, and then someone's like, "Where's Trejo?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's just his name in the movie."
That's exactly what I said to Kalia.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's so many other names. They were like, it's gonna get confusing if we add one more like fake name, so we're just gonna call him by his real name. Or they were like, just say Trejo. We'll ADR it later, and then they just forgot.
Yeah.
We'll just leave it.
The other I guess guest spot or part of the ensemble cast that I could have used a little bit more of was Karl Marx Tom Noonan.
Oh yeah, that's what I was.
With his huge ass beard in his wheelchair.
Yeah.
I just love Tom Noonan, and I was like, anything he's in,
Yeah.
I'm down for.
I noted that they just needed Gary Oldman to pop up, and then they would have the trifecta of Hannibal villains in the movie.
Oh yeah.
He could have played no, I'm trying to think of a tie between him and because him and young Natalie Portman were both in Leon, so that's what I was.
Oh,
that's what
okay.
I would think of.
Tom Noonan.
No, Gary Oldman. Sorry.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
getting off track.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, Gary Oldman was Mason Verger.
Yeah.
And then who else do you think? Who are the?
Ted
yeah.
Levine, and then Tom Noonan was Tooth Fairy in Manhunter,
Oh,
Also-
interesting. Okay,
directed by Michael
Brian
Mann.
Cock. Oh,
Directed by
And-
Michael
and-
Manhunter.
Michael Manhunter. Yes.
I didn't go like too far into the Wikipedia. I was just kind of like skimming it, but I saw that Al Pacino played Vincent Hanna as being 100% on cocaine the whole time. Like that's how he viewed his character.
Okay, so that makes way more sense why
Yeah.
he was going okay,
Yeah,
because it's like basically Scarface.
It's going nuts.
yeah,
And
Yeah,
why he
this-
just like walks through a busy like city street with a fucking AR, just like blasting holes in those cars.
Just
Get out,
100%
get out.
manic.
yeah.
Yeah.
This might
Hello?
be, other than like I guess a random like Adam Sandler movie, like maybe Jack and Jill. I think this is like the first like Al Pacino movie I've actually seen. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah, I haven't seen Scarface. He's in The Godfather, right? He's Michael.
Yeah, he's the main character.
Yeah. Yeah, I think. Well, I've only seen 20 minutes of The Godfather before Chloe was like, "We need to watch that together," and I
Oh,
stopped.
right.
So I did see him, but yeah, I think this is like my first proper Al Pacino
Okay.
movie, and I was like, he's obviously like he's one of the greats, but in this movie, and maybe it is informed by his inspiration of doing it as a coke fiend, but I was like, he's kind of one note, I would say a little bit, where he's just like, he's like freaking out, and then
Yeah,
it's like fluctuating between those two modes.
here's
That's the cocaine.
Yeah, here's the thing is like I said this to Kelly at the start that like I love young Al Pacino. Dog Day Afternoon, I fucking love that. He's amazing in it. That's probably my favorite performance of his. He's great in the Godfather movies, at least the first two. Third one was like, I don't know. Third one's so forgettable. I don't even really remember. He's good in Justice for All. Serpico.
Serpico?
Serpico.
Serpico.
He's like young Al Pacino is great and versatile, and old Al Pacino is more like I think the demarcation is Scent of a Woman. I think Scent of a Woman. He played this kind of
the
like,
shark.
huh?
That's the shark
Yeah. Yes.
that he jumped.
That he jumped.
That's the hoo-ah. That's where he became that
Yeah.
Al Pacino, and
Yeah.
sadly this is after that, and I think he still kind of like retains some of the. He's not like full on Al Pacino from Jack and Jill, but yeah, he's not that Al Pacino that I love. even though I would agree that like he is like a really entertaining character, it's still not in the way that I love his like earlier performances.
It's because this was like around the time that Nick Cage came to prominence, and he was like, I want me some of that. So because that's kind of what he becomes, is like, yeah.
True, but this was
kind of like out there.
But this was before Nick Cage was like Nick Cage, or at least known.
Yeah.
Like this was when he was doing like Leaving Las Vegas, where he was a more respected actor.
Right. I think kind of the same way with like Robert De Niro. I feel like Robert De Niro is like severely overrated.
Okay.
But he also kind of jumped the shark too. I've seen Raging Bull. I think that movie's boring. I think Taxi Driver sucks. He's good in like he's good in this wheelhouse of like
he's good in Godfather too. Give him that. He's good in Godfather Part 2.
Casino, like, you know, those kinds of movies. He's like pretty decent. But then I don't know. I've never been a huge fan of his, I guess.
There
it's
a point in time where he's just like,
yeah,
right.
Like,
I'm trying to do the.
He becomes the Meet the Fockers guy.
He does that a couple times in this movie, and it took me out. Like he'd be talking to Edie, and he'd just his reaction to her talking would just be that. It's big.
Yeah.
But I will say, for the most part, this is still like good Robert De Niro to me.
I thought
he's decent, but I think this is like the on the downhill of his bell curve.
It's starting the descent, but I think he still does like a pretty good job. And I'd have to say, like, I would agree that like he might be like a little overrated. Like I don't know if he's like he's not like a Jack Nicholson or anything, or even like a young Al Pacino. But
wait, are you saying Jack Nicholson's overrated?
No,
I don't
no,
know.
I'm saying he's not. I'm saying Jack Nicholson is one of the greats. Like he's one of the best actors ever.
Right.
And I think like a lot of people lump Robert De Niro up there with him. I don't know if I'd go that high.
Right.
He's a good actor. But
I think he's like
I don't know if he's like one of the greats.
I feel like he's lumped in as like being iconic, and I just don't think that's why I think he's like the most overrated, because people think he's iconic, and I think he's just like
I'd give him iconic. I think there's a difference between being great and being iconic.
I would say like he's maybe iconic in the sense of like Mark Hamill's iconic because he played Luke Skywalker and the Joker.
I think that counts in different ways, but
that doesn't
I think
make
that counts.
That doesn't make you great just because you happen to be like.
I think if you play a character that kind of resonates through the culture as much as something like Luke Skywalker or Travis Bickle has,
or
even
what, or Johnny from The Room, like that doesn't make you great.
Tommy Wiseau's I said when I said that he was iconic that it doesn't make you great. That those are two different things. Yeah. Okay. And to your point, yes, Tommy Wiseau is iconic. Sorry.
See, I'm using, he's iconic. I'm saying I'm using iconic in the sense of like I don't know.
I'm saying that I think
I'm using
there's a
it
difference.
different.
I think
I'm saying like iconic in the sense of like being one of the greats. That's what I was saying. We're just using it the word slightly differently, I think.
Yeah, because I think the word means something different. But
yeah. That's what I'm saying. We're just like, yeah.
I think it's hard to detangle the two ideas, because if you do say, that's like he's iconic. I think when people do think iconic, they tend to think of being like great.
I will
think
say,
it's
that's
semantics.
A lot of
it's
people,
hard to detangle those ideas.
That's true.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think we're just using. There's like multiple definitions, and we're just kind of like.
By my standards, because maybe I'm just more of a stickler for language. Like I fucking hate when people use literally for something that's not literal. So like in my head, it's separate. So that's why I would say Robert De Niro is definitely an iconic actor.
I would say
he's
the argument
good
for
actor.
He's been in enough things that are in the public. Like,
yeah, he's like
I mean, you can
not-
do that,
he's
right? And you're
not
like, oh, it's Robert De
terrible.
Niro, right? Like,
Yeah.
but, you know, that's got to count for something.
Yeah.
He's definitely played like iconic characters, but like as
Yeah.
an actor, as a performer, he is not like
But
himself.
I think like
great.
okay, so like here for instance, and this might be, this is kind of retangling because, but like I don't know. The first example that comes to mind is like Jared Leto's Joker versus like literally any of the Jokers before him, but like let's say versus Heath Ledger's Joker.
Literally,
which
any other
is
acting
tough
performance.
because yeah, like Heath Ledger's Joker is also like an amazing performance. So yes, that is both a great performance and an iconic performance. But I think that like Jared Leto's is neither iconic nor great. Like, so he played an iconic character, but he was fucking terrible and like didn't do a good job and just did it very badly. So like I think there is like I think you could have picked like and not like Mark Hamill is like an amazing actor as like Luke Skywalker, but
No.
there is some
They're
credence.
iconic roles.
Yeah, what
Right.
I'm saying is
That's
like
what I
I
was
don't
saying,
think
yeah.
I don't like. It sounds like what you're saying is that like because he played a character who's iconic, he's iconic, and I think there is a little bit of credence to be given to the actors that play it, even if the role or the performance itself
Right.
isn't amazing. Like Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker, it's like it's a workable
Serviceable.
performance, but it's not like wow, that's Oscar worthy. But
You're
I
right.
think it's. And maybe it's more like the casting, but like it's, you know, it's just he's a good pick and he's a good fit. And like the character might not be as iconic if it was played by somebody else. So I guess that's kind of what I'm trying to get at with the iconography.
Yeah. Anyways.
I wasn't trying to sound like super. I just kind of liked that little detour we were going down, so I was just
I was
trying to
thinking
further
it was too much of a debate about like
Oh, no.
semantics, which I'm completely fine with doing, and I would like to continue it, but also like I don't want to continue it right now, I guess.
I just I personally I was kind of, and maybe it's because I was talking a lot, but I kind of liked.
Yeah,
I
no,
liked
it's
that.
an interesting conversation. I just don't think it's interesting for right now. Is all I'm saying.
Maybe.
It's just it's hard. It's a hard conversation to nail down because there are so many actors that fit that criteria, but also don't fit. Like there's you could think of countless examples, like for and against using
Right.
like
And it's
iconic.
kind
But
of
that's
an
why I
interpretation
that's why I was just
thing.
using one. Do you want me to use countless others? I can.
No, do not. No, I think it's just like a semantics thing where it's like, yeah, you can kind of use the word different, you know, many different ways. Anyways, back to the movie. So Henry
Starring the
Rollins pops
iconic
up on the
Robert De
screen.
Niro.
Henry Rollins pops up on the screen.
Yep.
And speaking of icons, there's that one dude who was like a meme for a while, who's now like a TikTok star. He's the like prison inmate who has a really thick neck. You know what I'm talking
Oh.
about? You
Yeah.
know what I'm talking about? That's who Henry Rollins reminded me of. I was like, damn, that boy got a thick neck.
Does he
What the
really?
fuck is
Yeah.
wrong with this dude?
See, I thought because I think like all the pictures I've ever seen of Henry Rollins from what band is he in?
The Henry Rollins band.
Oh, I thought he was like I thought he was the front man
No,
of
he's
another
in
band.
like he's in like something like Tool or
No,
it's not
it's not
Tool,
Tool.
but like
Oh, okay.
something in that
that kind of
like genre.
yeah.
Did he have a show called
yeah.
Henry Rollins
Black
Show?
Flag.
Black Flag.
Black
yeah.
Flag, that's it.
I thought he was like a skinny piece of shit, but yeah, he was bulky. He was huge in this movie.
Bussin'.
It looked like he'd just been like he like been injecting steroids directly into his neck and then going to Black Flag concerts and just like headbanging so much and just like got so much bulk in his neck. I was like, man, if you punch this dude in the face, his head would not move. It would stay in one spot. Your hand would break and his head would just stay there.
Or it'd
He's
be
got
like
an iconic neck.
It'd be like a speed bag, like just like jaw up would move
Just, oh yeah.
and then snap immediately back into place.
Or maybe it would be it's like it's so buff that there's no flexibility there, so if you punched him in the even if you just like
just
flicked him in the
break.
nose, he would like fall over. He
Yeah.
has like no
Yeah,
it's
if
like
you
from
say
the
his
waist
name-
up he's got like a back brace on or something.
If you say his name, he's like,
Yeah.
huh?
Like Batman.
He's got
like,
one of
like
those-
Michael Keaton
Yeah.
Batman.
Yeah. He's got like a scoliosis brace that like goes and he's got like bolts into his head and shit
Yeah.
to keep everything all straight. So.
The other note that I had, yeah, a lot of good side characters, like random guys, but is it Allstate? Is that what that dude's from?
Okay.
Yeah.
That was literally. Well,
And
I may not be the same note, but it's about him. Was
Major
the next thing I was
League.
gonna say. I think of it from 24. As
Dennis
he's the
Haysbert
president.
and 24. Yeah, he's the president.
My only note about like the scene that he was in was when he got the job at the diner, and I was just like, that is a monster widow's peak on like the dude.
Oh, on the dude, yeah.
On the dude that was like, you're gonna mop and you're gonna clean and you're gonna do the dishes, and I'm taking 25%.
Did you guys recognize
Right.
who that guy was?
Blackmailing him essentially.
It was Bud Cort. It
Yeah.
was the Bond company stooge.
I was gonna bring that up too. Yeah, I have
From-
his, I have
what is
his
that?
IMDb
from Life
pulled up right now.
Life Aquatic, and also I mean his more
okay.
known role as Harold and Maude, but
Yeah,
Oh, okay, I see it now. Yeah,
he's
looked
the guy who gets kidnapped. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Damn. There were a lot of people that like everyone. I mean, this is 95. Everyone looks so young that it was like hard to pick out. Yeah, because there was like a dude that actually just died recently, who plays Beansy in The Sopranos. He gets run over by a car.
thought you were gonna
and he's,
say-
like paralyzed.
I thought you were gonna say
Beans
Beans.
from
Even
Disney
Steve-
Channel?
yeah, dude,
Steven
Beans was in this.
That's what I thought too. Wait a minute, he must have been like a fucking fetus. If that's the case.
Yeah,
um,
but he's like one of the police chiefs. Didn't recognize him.
I still thought you were talking about Beans when you just said he was one of those cheese. Okay, no, the note I had about Dennis Haysbert was just shit ass getaway driver. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
get,
he's the
I get
opposite
that,
of Baby Driver.
I get that he was the backup, right? Because Danny Trejo was supposed to be their getaway driver, and then he's like, "Oh, I can't do it." So then they're like, kind of last minute, they're like, "Hey, we need you to do one last job with us." Like he makes it like a quarter mile, and then he's fucking lit up.
Yeah.
Like, it's just fucking. They would have been better just running on foot the whole time.
Or if they had like a Flintstones car and just like pedaling by feet. He like put those glasses on and he was like, "Oh wait, these are for when I fake being blind. I can't see out of these things."
Yeah, that whole shootout scene was nuts. Like, there were so many casualties, and
There
like
had to have been.
I thought that kid was gonna get blasted at the end.
Oh,
I-
Tom
What, the-
Sizemore was holding?
I really like. I mean, this is weird to say, but like, I wanted that to be the case. Like, he's like, "Yeah, I got this," and then he kills the kid, and it's then it's like, oh, I don't know. I just thought that might have like,
I should
kind of
stop
Yeah.
doing cocaine.
yeah, yeah. But that might
no,
have
no,
like,
he's got that cocaine vision. He's like,
yeah,
and then
that was it. Yeah. Built-in.
oh, I just did
laser
YK
pointer.
Kim. I was doing the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's starting to get towards the end of the time, so
Sure.
back to the relationship between De Niro and the other guy, Pacino, cokehead.
Pacino. Pacino.
There's like
Da Pinci.
those moments, like they kind of come at really good times in the movie because it's like you're starting to lose interest, and then it's like there's the scene where they're kind of setting up the bank and they're like they're hacking into shit and the police are watching them. It's pretty early on in the movie, and there's this really cool scene where like I think somebody like one of the cops drops something, and then like De Niro like turns and he's like looking direct. They're like making eye contact through like this camera. It's like a heat or night vision camera or something, and that's like a really cool
Yeah,
thing.
that's right. That
There's
part was
quite a
cool.
few shots where they like are just like staring at each other, and you're like, okay, this is pretty good. And then like the best, I think probably the best scene in the movie,
Is Ralph.
I would say, is the where they get like dinner, or they get
the
drinks
coffee
together or
shops.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're just like talking, and they're like, yeah, it's really cool that that like that. I think the performances are really cool and like.
I don't know how to do anything else.
Neither do I.
I don't much want to either.
Neither do I.
I thought it was interesting that like it's kind of like everybody else is trying to get them to be open, but the only people that they can be open with is their like quote unquote enemy.
Yeah.
'Cause that's like it's like that's what they live and die for is the game of the cat and mouse.
Yeah,
thing.
they're like
Yeah,
two sides of
totally.
the same coin, and like that's
right.
they're both obsessed and can't do anything else but that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's like
and
they
they're-
have a begrudging respect for each other in that sense.
Right. They're so interested in the game that they play that they're like very interested in what the other side thinks and does. They're so like, oh wow, that's interesting because they just love the whole like everything about it.
Yeah.
Which I think is really interesting, and I really wish that they had like kind of given that more space, given that more opportunities, like that relationship, because that's the key relationship of the whole thing, I think, and it kind of gets drowned out by a lot of the other shit.
Yeah.
Muddied up, I guess.
Yes,
Agree. Totally.
There's not really any scenes where like after that meeting, I don't know. There's not even they don't really even like talk to each other after that ever again. Like
No,
not
not
to say
really.
that like during the big shootout, they're like kind of ducking and they're like, well, you don't have to do this, and he's like,
I don't even know if they do. I don't even know if they. Oh, maybe during that one, but I
They,
really
like,
don't think
They quote unquote communicate, body language, looks, and stuff like that. But yeah, they don't like talk until the climactic scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you saying at the end?
Yeah, like
They
the
don't. They don't
very
say.
end where-
Well, okay. After he's shot, that's the only thing they
After
ever
he's
say
shot.
to each other.
Yeah.
Which
Which that also looks CGI too.
him getting shot.
No, like the plane shit,
Oh.
like the surrounding stuff.
Maybe. I don't know.
I think they shot this whole thing on location. It's
I think they shot it at an airport, but then they put a green screen around it so that they could.
I mean that.
maybe.
I was mostly joking, but
Well, I mean,
They fudged it.
I will say that is a thing that they did in Zodiac. They shot a street scene on location, and then they had like a green screen wraparound to fill in.
okay.
So that's what, like you saying that, I'm like that's possible. I guess the last kind of bit that I wanted to touch on before moving in is just I do think that the movie picked up basically post shootout.
Right.
I was definitely like the most interested in the movie then. That was where you had the most like scenes that grabbed my attention. Like I said, that's where the Ralph scene
Right.
was, even though that wasn't like super important to the story. They had the scene with Danny Trejo and just kind of like resolving everything. I liked where it ended. Was really like the whole Robert De Niro getting into the hotel and killing Wayne Grow, and then coming back to the car, and just the chaos of that whole sequence. Him getting to the car and seeing Edie, and then looking down, seeing Al Pacino coming towards him, and just like the chaos of like hardly even being able to see the other one in the crowd because there's like so many people in between them. And then
Right.
I really like the slow, drawn out like those two versus each other, and the handhold at the end. It was just really cool. It was a cool wrap up. I just wish that the 2 hours preceding that were better, because the big shootout is about at like the 2 hour mark. Oh, and also the resolution of like Val Kilmer's thing. I like that was another bit that I liked, like him showing up to the thing and Ashley Judd doing the little hand motion to get him to go away. It's like he's the only one who, I mean, theoretically that's the last time you see him, so who knows, he could have maybe tried to return later and got captured. But I think the fact that like they don't show that, you can kind of, he got away maybe, and he's the only one.
Yeah, I mean, because they stop him and he's got like a new ID or something.
Right.
We didn't even talk about is that John Voight?
Yeah, who
Oh,
looks
yeah.
like fucking death in this movie.
Who also looks like Eileen Wuornos in this movie.
Yeah, fuck yeah, he does. Holy
He
shit.
does.
Damn.
Yeah, because like I remember I was like scrolling IMDb and I was like, John Voight is in this movie. Have I seen him yet? And I didn't realize it was like the dude with like the like the meth scabs and like the handlebar mustache. I was like,
Yeah.
Jesus.
In the mullet.
Yikers.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't a
dude.
mullet, but yeah.
That was
All right.
Okay. Yeah. We're good. I'm good to go. Good.
Yeah,
to-
yeah.
I'm good to go.
Who wants to?
GG.
Yeah.
GG's.
Yeah, GG's.
GG's.
Okay. I started last week, so one of you guys go.
I'll go because I think I had more of a positive experience than maybe you two did. When I got done, I was like, oh, okay. I felt like the runtime was justified, but maybe I didn't watch it as critically as you guys. To me, it didn't feel like 2 hours and 51 minutes. It didn't feel like 3 hours to me. I was pretty, pretty invested. But yeah, I think the only points that I dock it for are probably Al Pacino, despite being maybe the most entertaining character. I feel like his performance was, like you said, it's like Al Pacino going up and down the roller coaster, like where he's like, okay, like that kind of shit, and it's like, It's funny because like I was like, oh, okay, there's the context for the great ass, because like I've definitely seen that before, and I was like, oh, it's from this movie, cool. I thought for a movie from 1995, overall, I think it held up pretty well. Even the cheesy like Sting guitar sequences when there's like Robert De Niro in love scenes just doesn't work for me. I don't think he's like Robert De Niro is not a romance guy. So like seeing him in romantic situations like making out or whatever, I was like, no, you kill people. What are you doing? You don't do this.
Yeah.
Especially with that facial hair.
Yeah.
It's like the worst makeout facial hair.
But yeah, I was entertained. It's my first Michael Mann movie, I think. I think I've seen almost all of Collateral. I saw it like years ago.
Have you not seen Manhunter? I thought you had seen that one.
Collateral's really good.
I have not seen Manhunt.
Oh, okay.
I've seen bits and pieces of that.
Yeah.
I have Thief on Criterion with
That's right, James Caan.
Oh God, James Caan, and I do want to watch that one because I've heard Thief is like one of like Michael Mann's like iconic movie, or one of them at least. But yeah, I overall had a pretty positive experience. I thought it was entertaining. I'm sitting at like a mid 7, not a strong 7, not a weak 7, but a mid.
A mid 7.
Mid 7.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to add. Besides the fact that I just realized that Michael Mann directed Ali, and pretty much anytime McKelty Williamson was on the screen, I was like, he would have made a much better Muhammad Ali than Will Smith. He looks so much like him.
Yeah, but Will Smith knows how to hit.
Yeah, that's true.
Boom! There it is.
Super topical.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know. I felt like this movie was like 2 or 3 movies kind of crammed into one, and they should have whittled it down into one good movie instead of 3 mediocre movies. 6.5. 6.5.
Okay.
I don't think I'll ever watch it again, just because it's too long. It's way too long. I was kind of bragging about this in the chat that like I added a bunch of movies, and I specifically was like, I bet you I was so curious about like, I bet you all of these movies are like have like a really low runtime, and my average was like an hour and 42 minutes or something. I was like, yep. And it's kind of skewed by like a couple of monsters. actually one of the ones that I took out after the fact because I wanted to get my average down a little bit was Gangs of New York because that movie's like 5 hours long.
It's like 2.5. I don't think it's
No,
super
it's
long.
it's long enough that I was like, nah, I'm gonna
closer to that
sacrifice
than
that
5.
to get. No, it's not 5.
I know.
I can't wait till Magnolia gets pulled.
47.
That movie's 3 hours long.
2:47.
Okay.
But-
So, yeah, okay.
Here's my recommendation for Gangs of New York. I guess it's an excellent movie. Just I want to get my average down.
It's a numbers game.
Maybe I'll throw it.
Yeah, it's a numbers game.
Because that is a good movie.
When one of my other long movies gets pulled, I'll add Gangs of New York.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
That's it? It's done? Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. This is where I notice our scale disparity come into play because I feel like I feel like a lot of us were, or for the most part, we were all like kind of on the same level, but especially me and Travis. But I'm going lower. I give it a 5.6, 5.5. I'll try. Okay, I was trying to go full on decimals, but I think if I can, I'll keep it to halves. So I'll say 5.5. I kind of doing the more specific ones for the meme, but I'll stick with 5.5. And that's because for the most part, it was just like it was serviceable, but I wasn't getting anything great out of it. It is very long, and yeah, I feel like when something is like especially long, it kind of has to justify it more. Or otherwise I'm just like, yeah, it's a 5. But then like, yeah, like I liked, like I said, I liked the final act a bit more. It just wasn't enough to really bring it up a whole point, you know. But I still felt like it should have been, it was like above average, I guess. And like there was plenty of respectable qualities about it, but as a movie that entertained me and that I would want to see again, not so much. But I guess I still think it got some points, or at least half a point for having some of those qualities. So yeah, 5.5.
We call it the Ralph factor.
Yeah, yeah, that, yep. 0.25 of that was for Ralph.
Yeah, I want mine to be a 6. Change mine to a 6.
No, I think it's too late. No, I already wrote it down in the book. Why are you changing it?
I was between. I don't know why. I kind of
Fine, I'll give you a 6.
normally wait to give my number until like right in the moment, like as I'm saying it, essentially.
See,
and the first number that popped in my head was 6, and I paused and I was like, no, it's got to be better than 6. So then I just I pushed myself to 6.5, and I didn't like it. I felt uncomfortable with it, like almost immediately. So
Speak your truth.
Yeah, this is what I mean. Yeah. Like a 6.5 to me is like
it's
good.
too
like
close
that's
to 7.
It's pretty close to something that like I would say like I'd like totally watch that again. Like that was a fun, you know.
Yeah.
6 is like passable to where like I didn't like, you know, it was a more positive experience than negative sort of thing, and like I would still say I liked the movie.
Yeah, 6.5 is too close to 7. That's what was like. Really, was like, nah, that's too much. Too much.
I felt like I was gonna say something else, but I don't know at this point.
Well, that was an iconic
chat.
An iconic chat or iconic wrap up. Speaking of iconic things,
yeah, here we go.
Here's an iconic ad.
Iconic ad.
Well, welcome back to the
there
Nick. It's been a while. We've been on the ground doing a lot of research, so we haven't been able to convene for a while. So, what have you found in your travels?
Well, I have found that Nick tends to basically if a movie is on Criterion or if it's produced by A24, he's gonna like it. Regardless of the quality.
Right.
They're all 5 baggers for him.
Yeah. With 2 cans of pop.
Yeah, two bottles
of
of
pop.
soda. And so I've noticed continuing on the, you can't see it, but off here I have my graph chart. And according to that, the
Right.
correlation between that versus,
I have a copy of it here.
Okay, yeah, I CC'd it to you last night.
Yeah.
And according to that, based on the relation between those movies versus these sort of prestige movies that we have been, or like these iconic movies that we've been reviewing for the show, I would put Heat in that category. He kind of does the same thing, and I think that maybe
if
he hasn't watched half of these movies. I don't think. I think he just looks at the general. Take your headphones off. I want to hear what Travis is going to say.
Take your headphones off for 1 second.
Okay.
I've even noticed that like he'll watch a movie and he won't like it, but then it later on gets added to Criterion, and then he's like, "Oh, I've always liked that."
Exactly.
Movie.
You know, you note that the split there, on the chart.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I totally agree.
You can.
Okay, are we good?
Yeah. I've been very, very excited to talk about my post chat thing.
Okay, but for a
I
second
guess
before, are we back?
Oh yeah,
I'm thinking we're back.
yeah, I'm thinking we're probably back.
Okay, I would agree with that.
Yeah. Okay. So first off, I wrote two things down. We've been watching the show called All of Us Are Dead. It's like a Korean zombie show.
It's a
takes place in,
Netflix,
like,
right? I think
Right.
I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen like it on my feed or whatever.
It's like it's kind of got like battle royale vibes because they've got like bows and makeshift weapons, and they're all in like their uniforms and stuff. And it was pretty interesting at first, and then there was maybe like 2 episodes where it was just like it just felt like they weren't doing anything. And then there was kind of a twist in the 4th or 5th episode, and it's made it like way more interesting. It's kind of like I don't know. I don't really want to spoil anything if anybody wants to watch it, but it kind of becomes like less movie battle royale and more like manga battle royale.
Okay. I hate the
not
manga
that extreme,
but that kind of sounds entertaining for a show to me.
yeah, it's not that extreme. It's not like magical powers and stuff, but it's kind of a twist that I don't know.
Does that happen in the manga? They get magical powers.
Kind
Oh
of.
yeah, there's
so
so much shit.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
It's very.
It's
we should
very weird.
we should do a special Duds series that's like the Duds book club, where
Okay.
we do
Oh, yeah.
like a book and movie adaptations, like a month of just like.
This is weird
right,
because
yeah.
okay, this is a little bit.
Did
of
we
a
talk
tangent.
about this previously?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because that's like the inverse of that is how, like, I decided to start doing Duds was because I was doing a book club, and we were doing Battle Royale, and then I was like, hey, this would be
maybe
fun
that's
to do
what
with
triggered me
movies.
to say that.
Oh, maybe.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Subconsciously, but yeah.
So,
Anyway.
anyways, yeah, if you're into zombie stuff, it looks really cool, and there's some like really funny like moments in it that they're not really played as funny. Like there's this thing where they have to get from one level of the school to the bottom level, so they drop this fire hose out and they climb down, and this dude like climbs down and then he gets in the window and then immediately has like a cramp in his leg and he's just like and they like try to like help him, and like it's just like kind of like a throwaway thing.
Yeah.
But and then they're trying to get on the computer to like check the internet to see if like there's any news happening, like what's going on, and like the computer like, oh, it's a school computer, it's slow as hell or something, and it takes forever to boot up. So a lot of like little things like that. Okay, but the major thing that I want to talk about today, more than anything else, is another show on Netflix called Old Enough.
Okay, I've never heard of this. So
I would argue it is possibly my favorite show to ever be on Netflix ever. And when I pitch this premise to you,
this is
you're
more
not gonna
than
believe me.
This is more than I think you should leave.
They're close.
Okay.
They're close. It's not better than I think you should leave. It's top 5.
Okay.
The premise of the show it's a Japanese show.
Okay.
And it is parents who send their children, who are usually between the ages of 2 and 4, out for an errand. And that is the premise of the show. They literally say, go to the store and get some like curry and some flowers for your grandma's altar, and on the way back stop at the watch store and pick up my watch. And it's 2 to 4 year old like Japanese kids going off into town, like walking into town by themselves. The first episode will fucking hook you, I guarantee it. It is this kid, he's like 2 years old, and he has to walk a kilometer to the convenience store by himself. There's hidden cameras and stuff.
Right.
There's people around that are kind of like guiding him, but the cameras are hidden, and it's like, you know, it's all under wraps.
Yeah.
So he doesn't know shit.
Sure.
And this kid's got like a little purse, a little flag to tell the cars to stop so he can cross the road, and he's got squeaky shoes. Every time he steps, they like squeak. It's fucking incredible. It is so fucking entertaining. These kids are so cute. Everything they do is adorable. You will laugh, you will cry. I guarantee it. It's so
Really?
like there's so many.
Is
Yes,
this like
there's so many moments
Terrace
where, like,
House emotions, or is it different?
it is in that same like realm of like wholesomeness where you're
Okay.
just like, this is fucking. This kid is 2 years old. You can see his like saggy diaper and his shorts like waddling around while he's fucking walking, and it's like, this is like some of the stuff that these kids can do is like so. I'm like, damn. People are worried about like Russia and China. It's like, nah, these Japanese kids, these kids are gonna fucking take us out. They're the top of the food chain. They're so like independent and can do shit. I mean, not all of them. There's some that are like, they kind of just like fuck off.
This
but,
has
like,
been around for a while.
yeah, like the first episode is actually, I'm sure it's kind of like a compilation or something, because there's some episodes where it's all the font is in, or the text is in Japanese, but there's the numbers are in, you know, like the first episode's 2008, and then
Okay.
the last episode we watched was like 2017, but there's been some
But it's-
2019 or something.
But it's new
On-
to Netflix.
I don't know if it's new to Netflix.
I
but
think
we
Netflix
just
is
got Netflix.
2013.
That says. Wait, I'm
Like
confused.
on Netflix, old enough, 2013, one season.
Oh, is when it was on.
that must
yeah.
be when
Okay.
it dropped. But like, I looked up the
Maybe.
show, and it says 1990.
That's what
Yeah,
I
no,
see
it's-
too. Yeah.
It's pretty clear. There's
So those kids
an
got to be
episode or-
pretty old by now.
Those kids are probably
no.
like our age now.
Well, the first kid, it's from 2008, so that kid's like 16, 17.
All
or
those
something
kids
like
have
that,
movie
so.
podcasts now.
It's like
Yeah.
the speaking of I think you should leave. It's like in the new season of Old Enough, they're gonna have like the obituary or like the in memoriam reel of all,
yeah.
of all the kids from
Yeah.
the first season.
Yeah,
Oh man,
they're
okay.
not babies. But yeah, another great part of
Babies
this
anymore, idiot,
show,
stupid.
they're all the episodes are like about 10 minutes long.
Oh,
The
okay.
first one
Oh,
I think
okay.
is like
That's good.
7 minutes. So it's such an easy show
Nice.
to just be like, oh, I'm gonna instead of like watching a YouTube video, you just pop this on,
Uh-huh.
get that nice little spark to your day,
Mm-hmm.
and just dream of like a better world, I
I
guess.
feel like they could have picked a better title though. That's a little weird.
I know it's a little cringy. Yeah, I remember seeing it, and there's like a toddler on it, and it kind of reminded me of that. What was it called? The like dancing. It was like a really big thing. It was like
Toddlers and Tiaras or whatever.
Cuties.
no
Cuties.
What was it? Cuties.
Cuties.
Yeah, where it
That's
was like
actually where my head was going when you first brought this up because of like the
Yeah,
title.
I know.
I
Right,
wonder. I wonder if old enough is like a weird translation, because I know sometimes that happens.
sure.
Like it's like a weird localization. Like in Japan, it's called something that makes more sense. Old enough.
Well, it's probably Japanese
Yeah.
in Japan.
Yep.
Yeah.
That I think so. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Right on the money with that one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else? Because I actually, now that you mentioned, I think you should leave. I do have a very small morsel of something.
I do. You can go with that. Before we move on, though, I searched Old Enough on YouTube. The first 6 videos are clips of the show, And then the next one is the thumbnail is like Michael Cera leaning back, and it says, "I'm old enough to take a big fat shit on your face."
Oh yeah. From Wet Hot
Nice.
American
Yeah,
Summer.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna watch that when we're
speaking
done.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I think you should leave. Did you guys watch Cool Blue Car that I posted?
I haven't watched it yet. I like skimmed it. It reminded me of. Did you ever see the short that I made called New Car? It's like
Oh,
it's
like
like
the beeping.
yeah,
thing.
it's like because it's like horror adjacent. The one that I made too.
Okay.
And it
But
reminded me of that a little bit.
I'll have to watch that. But yeah, Cool Blue Car is a new short film. It's like Adult Swim Shorts. Is that what they're calling it? It's like Adult Swim.
Yeah, something. It's like
they have, like, a
SNL
series
digital
of-
short type.
Yeah.
thing, yeah.
But I saw it's directed by Alan Resnick, who's one of my favorite. I don't want to say horror directors, but he makes a lot of
Art
like
house
he makes those like weird Adult Swim videos that you see at 3:00 in the morning. Unedited footage of a bear was one that he did. This house has people in it. May I please enter? He's very good at that. Like that Tim and Eric uncomfortable style. Like a lot of his videos have that sort of like weird vibe to them. But the I Think You Should Leave connection is that it has Patty Harrison in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I showed Chloe that video, and all I have to do is say the one line, and it gets the "I would kill myself if you asked me to."
Oh,
it
yeah.
gets stuck in my head so easily.
I know.
But yeah, it's like this. It starts out with this guy like he's like washing his car, and then Patty Harrison like walks in from the desert, and is just like, "Hey, you said I could rent this car," and he's like, "What? No." But like she does that where she just talks. She just talks and talks and talks and talks and talks and
Yeah.
talks. It's like explaining her situation. He's like, "Yeah, but you said I could rent this car, and my mom said that if I can't rent this car, then I can't come to Thanksgiving dinner. If I don't come to Thanksgiving dinner, then my grandparents are gonna be bad. And my grandparents went through a lot." And it's just like it like slowly zooms in on this guy's face while she's just like going on and on and on, and it's like it's very bizarre. And I'm bummed that Alan Resnick isn't in it because I like him as an actor in these things, because he also has a very stilted, strange manner of speaking. Like Live Forever As You Are Now is one of my favorite ones that he does, where he's like talking about like uploading yourself to a computer to be a digital avatar, so like when you die you can still like communicate. And it's like his floating head, and he's like, "I love my wife because she is nice." Like it's
Very nice.
I love his shit, and so every time he uploads something new, yeah, he's really good at like making stuff that like feels like an ARG. Like he's done a few of those as well, like in the unedited footage of a bear video. I think you and I watched it one night. If you go to the website, there's like a Claradrill website for like the prescription drug, and if you go to it, if you can see the house in the background, and if you keep clicking, the camera, you can move through the website into the house and then move around inside the house. But it's like you have to keep clicking, and you can get further and further until you can like navigate like the website. It's like all of that shit is thought about. And so I love the work that he does and the weird internet shit that he does. So go watch Cool Blue Car. It's 9 minutes, and it's weird as hell. And it's got Patty Harrison, who I feel like through I Think You Should Leave, I think Patty Harrison is going to be someone that you see a lot in stuff coming up.
Yeah, she's really funny. And
I feel
mostly
weirdly
seen
Trumpian
that
when
show,
I
but-
said that. Patty Harrison, she's on the up and up. She's a very good person.
Then
Anyway.
when you click through into the house, if you actually go into the dresser and open that up, it opens up, and there's a bunch of pairs of pants with little pee droplets on them.
Oh, that makes me think of Mind Jack. Did you ever see that?
That sounds.
It's
familiar.
It was one of those web. There used to be like a web. It wasn't Adult Swim, but it was something else. but it's that guy. He's just like he's pretending to be a street magician, but his trick is that he like comes in his pants.
Yeah.
Or he makes other
He's
people
like-
come in their pants. Is
Yeah,
that it? Or,
he's like, look down, Michael. And
Yeah.
he's like, looks,
Yeah.
he's like, oh, he just busted a nut.
yeah, that's
And he's
right.
like, look again.
yeah.
And then it's gone. He's like, where'd it go? And it
Yeah.
just drips out of his mouth.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Oh man.
Okay, I'll try to be brief. I know I had like 3 things on there. I'll just focus on one. Although I will do a soft recommendation for Pam and Tommy, which I wanted to mention because I was like just recently, a couple episodes ago, talking about how there weren't like any Hulu shows that I really liked. And like I wouldn't say I like loved it, but it's the best Hulu show I've seen so far. It's about Pamela Anderson, Tommy Lee, and like their sex tape and like the fallout, but also like it follows the guy who stole it and like released it, Rand Gauthier, played by Seth Rogen. It's pretty good. It got a lot more like, it seemed just like a total like gimmick play thing, but it was good. I liked it. It kind of drills more into the characters than you think. Tommy Lee's a fucking asshole, and Pamela Anderson is like it. I really liked her character, especially like the way that she was played, and like it's very like, you know, it's like a kind of like, it doesn't hit it too hard, but it's kind of like a feminist sort of piece, but it was good. I liked it, and I really liked her performance. And also, I wouldn't have ever thought this, but like Lily
They show the
James,
entire sex.
no, but there is a bit of banging.
Hell yeah.
But I would never have thought this, but like she looks like, I think like with the makeup and everything, she looks like just like a young Pamela Anderson. It's nuts.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah.
Which like
So you
outside
said
of
Tommy
that-
Lee's an asshole. You said Tommy Lee's an asshole.
Yeah.
Do they ever fight?
him and Pamela?
Pam, yeah.
No, that's the thing. Actually, it's weird
Oh.
because he's really, and you know how much of this is like true and how much of it is, you know, fiction. But he's actually like extremely sweet and like loving to her. It's
okay.
actually like kind of, it's almost like heartbreaking when they like where it ends up with them. I mean, spoilers, they aren't married anymore.
Oh shit.
But no, he's an asshole to like literally like everybody
Okay.
else.
Oh, okay.
And it's kind
So
of like
maybe-
the
so
reason
maybe-
the reason why Seth Rogen steals from him is because like he did all this work on his house for like $15,000 or $20,000, and he doesn't pay him. And when he tries to go back for his tools, he like holds him at gunpoint and forces him out of the house. So, yeah,
So maybe you could say that there was like a short fight and then banging.
Oh, nice. Wow, that's extremely deep cut. But yeah.
There's another podcast that I listened to that they did a read on Tommy Lee's autobiography, which he wrote a book, and he sounds like the biggest dumb guy like ever.
He total meathead.
Yeah, just like the stuff he writes in his book is just like he like his version of like comedy is just like I was talking with my penis the other day,
Yeah.
like that kind of
Oh,
shit,
that's-
where he's just like,
That's funny because there is a scene where he talks to his penis.
yeah,
Like
that's
the
like
penis
that's like a
whole,
recurring theme in
talks like it moves.
Oh no, it's
Yeah.
like Marcel the Shell.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just a little.
Yeah. So yeah, it was pretty good. I like between 7 and 8 if I'm giving it a rating, somewhere in there. I liked it a bit. And then the other one that I'll try to do fairly quick too is I saw Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness last night. Just, you know, it's topical. That one's like a little lower. I gave it a 7. It's like a high 6, 7, somewhere in there. Directed by Sam Raimi, which is a big reason I wanted to see it, and I was very surprised how much they kind of let him do his thing. I was worried it was going to be too like controlled by Marvel and by Disney, and they weren't. It was just going to seem like another Marvel movie that didn't really have any character. But they did. There was a lot of like it felt like he was trying to make it a horror movie as much as possible. There was a lot of like spooky scenes. There was a lot of like his like zoomy Dutch angles that he does in like The Evil Dead, or like the quick zoomy stuff. I mean lights, but I don't know. This is only a spoiler if you're not familiar with him, but like this is Bruce Campbell cameo, and that was cool to see. And like it was great because if you know their relationship and how Bruce always says that Sam Raimi just loves like putting him on camera to like make him like eat shit or like throw shit in his face, and like his character is pretty much just there to like get the shit beat out, like Three Stooges style. It's pretty good. And there's as much as you can in like a PG-13 Marvel movie, there's some pretty like gross deaths in this. Like there's a part where like a dude's like head caves in. I don't know, you'd really have to see it to really get it, but they get pretty fun with like the cameos because it's a multiverse movie, so they go to like a couple parallel universes. I wish they did more of that. That's one of my bigger criticisms, is like they kind of just go to one. There's like a few that they go into, but mainly they're in the main one, and then they go to one other one, and then you kind of see glimpses of a few other ones, but it's mainly just like one other. It's like it's hard. You cannot hardly even call it a multiverse. It's just like another one of madness. And how they did the villain was really cool. I like any time that there's a villain in these superhero movies that isn't just like, I'm a bad guy because I'm a bad guy and I'm gonna rule the earth, or I'm gonna make people my slaves. And this like explicitly wasn't that, and it was really cool how they took it. But I feel like I definitely got a lot out of it because of the Sam Raimi aspects. There's also a ton of like, I mean, it fit with the story, but literally like the whole thing is centered around this book, this ancient book called the Darkhold, that has all these evil curses in it that corrupt the user, and you're not supposed to read them aloud. And then there's zombies and other undead things, and there's like possessions and people like walking around with like shambled like corpses and like speaking in tongues at like big Evil Dead vibes like throughout. And it was kind of fun that they like it worked for the movie. Like it didn't seem like it was shoehorning this in. Like it all made sense. But I love that like he was kind of able to like do his thing. It felt a lot more like a Sam Raimi movie than say his Wizard of Oz movie he did. Was
there at any point a guy who did that and was like floating and then did the
no
no he like floats at her
and
like eats her hair?
Yeah, that would have been good. But yeah, it was, like I said, between 6 and 7, but it was really fun. And if you're a Raimi fan, I would definitely give it a look-see.
So I might actually go check that out.
Yeah.
Right. Once it comes to HBO, and then you still haven't watched it for like 3 weeks.
Nice.
Yeah. Whatever could he be referencing?
This is like TJ with Pulp Fiction. You're just never gonna watch it now.
Yeah.
It's just like I'll show you.
Oh, nice. I just picked this up and one plopped out, so I'm gonna use it. But here, I'll show it anyways. We're doing the movie recommendation for next week, which is back to our dud. It always feels so quick every time.
Yeah.
It feels like it's been a while every time we don't do one, and then as soon as it's dud week again, I'm like, oh my god, we have to do it again.
Okay, I want to confirm this real quick. So we do 3 movies and then we do a dud, correct? Like that's just the pattern. It's not like just last week of the month.
It's last week of the month.
So sometimes there's extra weeks.
True.
In a month,
yeah.
Right? Okay. All right, I'll have to do the math again. But
Correcto.
I just did the math. 3 in between each dud episode, and we'll have a dud episode on 68, which I think is unacceptable. So
we can fudge the numbers for that one.
Yeah, if it does end up like that, I think we should maybe do dud back to back.
I wouldn't be opposed to that, I guess.
I mean, we did Suicide Squad and the Suicide Squad. We did those 2 in reverse order.
Right, that's true.
So it's our show. We can make up the rules.
Okay, this is interesting because this is one of mine, but it was one that I wasn't sure. I've heard some people like say that this is legitimately good, so I don't know. This will be interesting. This might be a little different from the other duds. We're gonna watch Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance, directed by Neville Dean and Taylor, from 2011. That's the Ghost Rider sequel with Nicolas Cage.
Okay.
Could watch both of them if
Do I
you
need to
feel
watch-
like it. I don't know.
Bro
I've never
before-
I've never seen the
Bro.
second one. Yeah. We
gotta watch, bro.
Is this our first Nick Cage movie?
Might be.
I think so.
Might be.
I think it is. Okay. Nice.
Yeah. So watch. If I can find the thing, watch Ghost Rider. Oh no, I deleted all that shit. I had like the sources of where to find it, but that shit's all out of date, anyways.
It's a rental.
Okay, it's a rental.
Yeah.
So
Everything's a rental.
yeah, watch Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance before next week if you don't want to be spoiled for it. Maybe watch the first one, but I think if you know the basic premise of what Ghost Rider is, Nick.
Doesn't he? I know his face catches on fire.
Well, yeah, but
Does he die and then comes back to life?
not
and he's
exactly.
like a vengeful spirit.
He makes a deal with the devil to save his dying father, and basically the deal is like, basically every now and then I can use you at my bidding. He's like possessed by a demon. So the Ghost Rider like has a name. I forget what its name is, but
it's kind of like Bedazzled with Brendan Fraser. It's a little bit like that. Make a deal with the devil.
I guess and in that aspect alone,
he like well, there's the part in the first one where he like he becomes like a really good basketball player, but he's got a really small wiener. Like that's in the original. I remember that.
Yeah.
And his penis is on fire too.
And bony.
Yeah. Both heads are bony and fiery.
Yeah, just the tip.
And it's got a little
it's like a
little leather jacket.
It's like a
on.
Charmander tail.
Yeah.
My front Charmander tail.
And it's got a little motorcycle too. And a chain whip. That's what it shoots instead of loads. It shoots chain whip.
I want to watch that movie.
You know what? You know what the thing is called when the Ghost Rider like grabs the dude and he like stares into their soul and so that they like burn to death. That's called a penance stare. You can do something with that.
The shit writes itself.
Anyways, there's that movie. So that'll be next week.
Man, we should have saved it.
Yeah.
Especially if it's in person.
Well, I don't know if they ever say that in the movie. That's just a little nerd fact you learn if you read comic books. So yeah, watch that before next week. Anyways, Ghost Rider 2. We do these episodes every Wednesday at 7 p.m. EST on YouTube and Twitch at There Will Be Duds, and it's also released in podcast form on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. And we also have socials: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and more recently TikTok, which has been our most
getting a lot of
successful avenue, I guess. I don't know.
Our YouTube videos have actually been popping off too. Like all of our videos are in the 40, 50
that's
views
true.
range.
That is true. Yeah.
I don't know if it's people seeing the thumbnail and thinking that it's the movie. That could possibly be that. I'd like to believe that it's not.
Yeah. But yeah, it's at There Will Be Duds on all those things. So give it a follow, give it a rate, give it a watch. I think that's all that. So I am your I don't even remember who they're talking about, but I got a great ass, and my name is TJ, aka J Spot Jack Cheese. And with me as always.
As always, I am your Widow Peak company stooge, Nick, aka insurance stooge. What
Bond
stooge is
company
he?
stooge.
Bond company stooge. Yeah, I'm your Widow Peaked Bond company stooge, Nick, aka Dr. Funk on Twitch, and with me as always,
I am your Vincent Hanna, and if you remember, I told you when we hooked up, baby, that you were gonna have to share me with all the bad people. Travis, aka the Super General.
Is that a line?
Yeah,
that's when he's
but
arguing
he
with
says
his wife.
the delivery is like way better. He's like, "When you hooked up with me, baby." He says it something weird like that.
Man, this movie was silly.
Yeah, it really was.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, bye bye.